Now it is my honor to invite Mrs. Jargalan Batbayar, Member of State Great Hall Parliament of Mongolia, to deliver a remark.
Good afternoon. My esteemed fellow parliamentarians, distinguished representatives of the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to welcome you to the Parliament of Mongolia on this auspicious day. Today we mark several momentous occasions. This morning, the Parliament of Mongolia held the inaugural plenary session of this year's fall parliamentary session. Today, we also globally commemorate the International Day of Democracy as recognized by the United Nations. The International Parliamentary Union is celebrating the International Day of Democracy under the theme, Achieving Gender Equality, Action by Action. Thus, our meeting is not only timely, but also quite pertinent. We believe that democratic values are universal human values, and I'm truly happy to share this moment with you today. Now, allow me to express my sincere gratitude to the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung and our parliamentary colleagues for their tireless efforts in organizing the annual meeting of the Asian Women Parliamentarian Caucus here in Ulaanbaatar. Hosting this year's event in Mongolia is a moment of pride for us, and we are deeply honored to welcome friends and colleagues from across Asia to our beautiful country, the land of the blue sky. This year's gathering takes place at an important moment for Mongolia's democracy. Our meeting is especially meaningful as it coincides with the 35th anniversary of Mongolia's democratic revolution. This anniversary reminds us of the hard-won progress that Mongolia has made in building democratic institutions, safeguarding fundamental freedoms, and promoting equal participation in governance. It also serves as a timely occasion to reflect on the role of women parliamentarians in strengthening democracy, both nationally and in the region. Mongolia has historically embraced politically and economically powerful women. In the heyday of the Mongolian Empire, our great queens were celebrated for their wisdom and feared for their wrath. We have figures such as the great Queen Mantra, who has been a trailblazing state builder. As I like to say, she did not only lead her country, but also raised her children and her husband. Which was the hardest job. In 1924, we ratified our first written constitution. Although this was a deeply communist document, it legalized universal suffrage, extending equally to men and women. As a result, Mongolia became the first Asian nation to give the right to vote to women, a historic milestone for all women in Asia. In 1990, as Mongolia transitioned from a one-party state to a functioning democracy, women's rights became part of the broader national dialogue. Women became social activists, civil society leaders, and business moguls. However, genuine political power remained the domain of men. In 1990, Mongolia's first freely elected parliament, the People's Great Khural, which ratified the democratic constitution, had 430 members, but only 9 were women. Coincidentally, one of these 9 women was my grandmother. In the 8 parliamentary elections that followed, the highest number of women elected was 13 out of 76, a mere 17%. The 2023 constitutional amendments, together with the newly revised law on parliamentary elections, introduced gender quota provisions to ensure greater balance in candidate nominations. Political parties are now required to nominate at least 30% of their candidates from each gender. In addition, a proportional representation list was established, applying the gender zipper system to alternate male and female candidates. This quota will rise to 40% in the next election, and I thank the Honorable Chairman of the State Great Khural, for reaffirming his commitment to these reforms today. As a result, the 2024 parliamentary elections marked a historic milestone. Today, women hold 25% of the seats in the State Great Khural. This achievement is not only a matter of numbers. It is a reflection of Mongolia's commitment to the principles of democracy, equality, and inclusiveness. It demonstrates that when legal reforms and political will converge, real and measurable progress is possible. It sends a powerful message to young Mongolian women that their voices matter at the highest levels of decision-making, and that politics is not the domain of men alone, but the shared responsibility of every citizen. In Mongolia, we are already witnessing the positive impact of more women parliamentarians in legislative debates, parliamentary oversight, and constituency outreach. Women leaders have championed laws and policies on critical issues, and their contributions not only enrich the policy-making process, but also help build a more just and resilient society. However, as we all recognize, this progress must not lead to complacency. Our task is to consolidate these achievements and to advance further. We must ensure that women are not only elected to office, but are also fully empowered to shape policies, influence the national agenda, and take part in the critical decisions that define our country's future. In this respect, women's representation must translate into women's leadership. At the regional level, the Asian Women Parliamentarian Caucus has played an important role since its establishment in 2011. Through its annual meetings, the caucus has provided a platform for dialogue, solidarity, and mutual learning among women leaders across Asia. By sharing experiences, best practices, and lessons learned, we strengthen our collective ability to overcome the persistent challenges of gender inequality in politics. Together, we reaffirm that democracy cannot be fully achieved without women's equal participation. Looking ahead, we must continue to work hand in hand to remove structural barriers, combat stereotypes, and create enabling conditions for women to thrive in political life. This includes supporting mentorship programs, political training for young women, and forging partnerships between civil society, political parties, and governments. In this way, we can ensure that the progress achieved is not temporary, but becomes rooted in our institutions. This year's caucus meeting brings together Asian women leaders under the theme, Advancing Gender Equality Through Economic Empowerment, Policies for a Sustainable Future, highlighting the urgent need for actionable policies to promote economic development in the region. Women's economic empowerment is vital for Asia because it creates inclusive growth, reduces poverty, and strengthens social stability. Greater participation of women in the workforce and leadership can significantly boost regional GDP, while also improving family welfare, education, and health outcomes. Empowering women economically not only advances gender equality and human rights, but also builds more resilient, innovative, sustainable economies across the region. I firmly believe that political empowerment becomes real only when it is underpinned by economic empowerment. Without economic opportunity, the promise of political rights remains incomplete. Political power and economic power go hand in hand, and when women are denied economic opportunities, real political leadership becomes elusive. Thus, we must work together to create meaningful change. For instance, in 2024, Mongolians' labor force participation rate stood at 63%, with a notable gender disparity, 72% for men and 55% for women, resulting in a gender gap of 18 percentage points. According to the International Labour Organization, the average gender gap in labor force participation across Asia and the Pacific is 28 percentage points. These numbers remind us that achieving gender equality in the workforce is not only a national challenge, but a regional one as well. Tomorrow, we will explore ways to advance gender equality through economic empowerment, and I believe there is much we can learn from one another. Honorable colleagues and dear friends, let me once again express my deepest appreciation to the organizers of this year's Asian Women Parliamentary Caucus, the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, and Mr. Andreas Klein for your steadfast support, and to our all distinguished guests for joining us in Mongolia. I am confident that our discussions will generate fresh ideas, force stronger partnerships, and contribute to advancing gender equality in political leadership across Asia. May this meeting in Ulaanbaatar serve as a source of inspiration and determination, guiding us toward the future where women and men share equally in the responsibilities of governance and where democracy flourishes in its truest sense. Thank you.